under control. That isn't some academic discussion. It's about you. It's about people like you and families I grew up with all over America. And, you've all lived lives of service. You not only have taken care of yourself and your families, but you've lived lives of service to help other people as well. And so, again, this isn't an academic discussion. You deserve our thanks and our support. And I'm going to hand it back to Cedric so we can hear from you all while the press is still in here.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Today we're joined by three outstanding Americans that exemplify what America stands for, and especially your values, which is service to others. And first we have Ms. Alma Williams. Ms. Williams is a paratransit driver. She transports disabled Americans every day. She has 4 wonderful children, and her youngest is in the process of applying to college. The other 2 are in college, and 1 is on her way. So Ms. Williams is close to being an empty nester. Then we have George Kerr, who served in the United States Navy for almost 8 years, served on 2 Air Force carriers, and he volunteers, but also is starting a nonprofit small business to help people with substance use issues and health and harm effects. And he has, which you mentioned earlier, the unfortunate experience of having a house that burned down, and I know that you know that experience very well. And he's just a remarkable individual. And then we have Ms. Lita Venegas, who volunteers at a DC Community Health Center and spends her time counseling and helping Americans get through this very rough time. And she has seen the effects firsthand of the challenges and the pain and the suffering that American citizens are going through, which is particularly important that you say through no fault of their own. And with that, Mr. President, I'm going to turn it back over to turn it over to Ms. Williams so that she can tell us about what she thinks about the American Rescue Plan.
Actually, a wonderful plan. As well as being a paratransit operator, I'm also a union rep for the ATU.
ATU.
Yes, sir. And, just hearing the things that, my coworkers go through is devastating. We're fighting to work a maximum of less than 40 hours a week, and as I stated to a colleague of mine, we had a time where we paid our bills on the 1st of the month, and now we're struggling to pay them on the 15th.
And you're still employed.
Yes, and it's just a hard time financially, mentally, emotionally, like across the board for children, adults, and it's just, I thank you for the plan. I think it'll help a wide range of people, not just the working class, but our retirees, our elementary school, our grade schoolers. I have nieces and nephews who are very young, and just the transition of going to school every day and now being home all day, stuck behind the computer. It's draining for them too, and they don't understand it, Thank you.
Okay. I have a lot of questions, but I'm going to wait till we hear, the press is here to hear from all 3 people.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to talk more about this if I can.
Thank you, Mr. President. With that, we'll turn it over to you, Mr. Kerr.
Well, once again, thank you for having me. It's really important that we're having this conversation. I'm in full support of this piece of important legislation. As you said, I lost my home in November 30th, 2019. And then right after that, I got really sick, and then COVID happened. And thankfully, I did not, have not contracted COVID. But it's led to a lot of other issues. And being having my own LLC, it's very difficult to find contracts right now because of the environment and people are just don't have the funding to get the support they need. And so I do a lot of work with different organizations. One of them is Mary's House for Older Adults, where we have a reach out and touch someone who talks to seniors, LGBTQ seniors, about isolation and being in contact with them. And so mental health is just a real important, and I'm glad to see there's a lot of money in there for mental health services because it's incredibly important. And at the same time, my community, the LGBTQ community, is under attack on a constant basis. And we need to, the trauma that's around there, needs to be addressed. And I'm hoping and praying that you will be able to sign into law the Equality Act.
So am I.
Thank you.
Then last but certainly not least is Ms. Lita Venagas.
Well, first of all, thank you so much. Thank you for allowing Mary Center, on behalf of Mary Center, being me here, to share the story of the many, many families that we have served during this pandemic. For those of you who don't know Mary Center, we're a community health center. We are a federally qualified health center, and we serve over 60,000 families in the DC region. So we have been in service for 33 years. I've been with Mary Center for 19 years. And I guess we've seen it all, especially during this pandemic. The beauty of Mary Center, the way I said, is that we have this unique model, Mr. President, that really tackles all the issues of our families. It's not only medical. We provide social services, behavioral health, educational services. So that's the way that we have been able to support our families and move them back up to the economic ladder, especially during this time. It's interesting, I was checking, and I think, if not mistaken, a year ago today is when the first case of COVID came to Maryland, right? And 2 days later in DC. Since day one, Mary Center has been on the front lines in the response and recovery process. So far, we have done more than 20,000 COVID tests. A lot of them, unfortunately, have been positive. We serve from our 60,000 participants, we serve around 70% of them are Latino. And, minorities have been very impacted.
Yeah.
And so we received the vaccine back in December. We have vaccinated around 1,200 individuals. But if you put it in perspective, serving 60,000 participants, and let's say 50% are adults over 18 that can get the vaccine. So we still have like almost 30,000 people that still need the vaccine. But we know, Mr. President, that will multiply in a few weeks because we're trustful that you will deliver on the promise of vaccinating 100 million people soon, right? And so, if you ask me what our families have gone through, they have gone through everything. Just by hearing Alma's and George's stories, it just breaks my heart because it's the same situation. They're losing jobs. That's the main thing, that. And with that, they have unstable housing, food insecurity. They're traveling long distances to go and visit the site, the food distribution site. And that's every day. Then they do long lines. And next day, they have to do the same. And so it's been hard, and because they haven't been able to pay rent, now they're moving with other people to live together. And so they're sleeping on couches, on the floor. They're always at risk of being infected. And because they have lost jobs, a few of them have kept the jobs, but few hours, but they still need to go outside. So when they go, they're at risk of being infected, and then they come back, and they have the family, right? So, it's this circle of situations that have been impacting all of our families. So, with that comes mental health, trauma, anxiety, and our children don't have laptops. We have been able to distribute about 1,000 laptops or more. But, if they have one laptop, but they have 3 children, how can they all be in school on the same day? So they have to choose. Or they don't have internet connection. So there's a lot around that, and we've been trying to support as much as possible.
Well, thank you for all of you for what you do. I carry a schedule card with me every day. On the back of the card, I list on a daily basis how many people have died from COVID in the United States. As of the day, 517,224, not over 500,000. 517,224. And we will meet the 100 million shots. We're up to 82,572,848 shots. We're going to get this done. So I'm going to ask some questions now. The press is going to leave, and I'm going to